It's rare that I start or I end with the babies. I'm always so eager to talk about them. I graded them all last week for you. I didn't get to see them train last week, but I got a pretty in-depth. I interrogated Amy and then James, and got a pretty good idea of how everybody went. Um, so there was horses I worked hard on the week before that looked really, really good. One in particular, I know Kathy with an eye looked fantastic. She's a typical Uncle Peter, big, strong filly. Reminds me a lot of Oso Pine when he was young. She's bigger than Oso Pine, but it reminds me a lot of Oso Pine, a horse, and I'm really interested to see how she trains down. And I know that James was a little angry at me because, you know, if the horses aren't doing this is the whole thing. For those of you that are horsemen out there, you may or may not agree with how we go about them. So if I go out on a Monday, I go with Kathy with an eye on Saturday. She runs all the tracks. She's no good. Monday, I might go out, change her gear, go the right way with her. Now, I don't want to push her because she stood in the stall on Sunday. That makes no sense. But I want to get a feel of how she feels. Does she feel comfortable? If we made any equipment changes or shoeing changes, does she feel comfortable? Does she feel good? Tuesday, she'll go a mile. If I don't feel she's at the very best she can be right now, Wednesday, she might go a mile again. Now, when we say mile, this time of year would be 3 minutes, 2:55. But you might push her at some point in the mile. And this would continue for the week. This is a hard, heavy lifting week. And I did this with Kathy with an eye. I did this with Muscle, Massive Profit. And this is, lots of horses did this all forever, right? But I want the horses to be able to do it right with confidence. The only way to do that is to continue to allow them to do it right. And I think when I look at all other sports, right, whether it be football, baseball, basketball, you're having trouble with your free throws, you shoot free throws, right? Having trouble with your wrist shot or your slap shot, go to the rink, you do it more. Baseball, I remember my coach telling me, and I heard a commentator say it almost exactly like him, and I remembered it from when I was a kid. If you're having trouble with the strike zone, just keep throwing. Just keep throwing fastballs until you hit it, right? Practice makes perfect. One of the oldest adages on earth, and it's no different for horses. These are 1,000-pound machines, athletic machines. They're human. They're living beings also. So you can't push too hard. I'm not talking about gunning them every day, but work, and then lo and behold, you'll see the results, and you usually see them right away. And I know James was a little quiet about how well Kathy with an eye looked the other day, but Amy wasn't. She said the filly looked fantastic, and then she came in and asked James if he thought there was any correlation between the work. I think James's mum on the situation, he didn't want to talk about it. But James, he would rather go easy. And, I've said this to everybody. I expect the horse to do their work right every day. And I think every day you allow them to not do it right is a wasted day for them and a wasted day for you. So, and that's how I take it. When it comes to aged horses, you can let them go out and goof off. They've already been there, right? They already know what it's all about. But when it comes to babies, they need to do it right. And that's why we take some flack sometimes for having trotting hobbles on trotters in December of their yearling year. And truthfully, if you saw the drone, you might see them at the end of November of their 2-year-old year. I want to be able to help them also. Horse like Kathy with an eye. So here's a scoop. Kathy with an eye was a giant filly on a half-mile track. She'd get to the turn, she'd touch herself, she'd roll off and make a break. Now, James had said to me, I come in on a Thursday, and he said, or Friday, he said this filly trained great on trained. Again, we'll use that term loosely. She trained great on Wednesday, come in on Thursday, Greg jogged her, said she was on the left shaft, and she was sore right hind. So one of two things is about to take place. Virtually only one of two. Either she hit herself, and there's a bruise there, and she's a little tender on it, or she may have like an OCD in her hock and her ankle. Now, in this particular case, I know that Kathy with an eye was fluoroscoped before she came here, and an OCD was removed. So, I think the chances of it being another OCD, although not impossible, mildly unlikely. So I'm thinking, fine, she hit herself either before or after she made a break, chicken or the egg, don't know. In your training session on Wednesday, she's a little sore. Work. She needs to work through it. So she went hard for about 3 or 4 days, and then James went with her on Wednesday when I was gone. Track wasn't even great. went with her on Wednesday and said, and Amy said she was fantastic. So I think what it was she would get to the turn, come close to touching herself, and it probably stings a little bit once in a while, right? I'm sure when you get a slap shot and you're a goalie the first time, it's not real cool, but you know, the rewards outweigh the the positives outweigh the negatives. So when it comes to a trotters want to do the work, especially like her. She's got a great work ethic. She'd get to the turn, she'd get a little unsure of herself. You can't get unsure of yourself getting to a turn as a trotter. You can't do it. You have to power through the turns. Most good trotters do it. Sure, powerful trotters, you can keep them together when they're at racing speed, when they're racing, but when they're training down, they have to be able to power through the turns. You have to be allowed them to do that. I put the hobbles on Kathy with an eye, and I trained her every day through the turns. Pushed her. James said, oh, she was fantastic. She wasn't on the left shaft. She was straight. She was perfect. Amy told me. And then James said it, and then Amy asked him after, was she straight? Was she on the line? No, she was great. She was fantastic. That's why. So, 6 minutes of nothing. Let's get to the list. Almost There Boss has been great from day one. He continues to do his work great. Now, he is castrated. He is gelded. But I think that is why he's been great since day one. A little cranky when we first got him, a little studdy, kind of biting and kicking at everybody. We got him to the 2-week mark. As I said, you have 2 weeks to settle into the barn. If you're going to kick at horses and bite at people, you're going to be castrated. And that's what happened with Almost There Boss, but he's looked fantastic ever since. Amor Diener, another perfect example of castration. Just the sourest little horse on earth when we got him. Pin his ears, didn't want to do anything. Now, after working him, castrating him, working him for the last 2 months, he looks fantastic. Looked great on open house day. Just a sweetheart to go with now. Amy loves going with him. Just a beautiful little horse. I love Amor Diener. Arches Rainbow looked great open house day. We'd splints crowd on a number of horses the other day, so I'll tell you which ones they are as we get to them, okay? So this is an important list. Arches Rainbow had a big splint right front crowd the other day. Not a big deal. And again, this isn't an issue. It's nipping an issue in the bud, this crowding of the splint. So Arches Rainbow, splint, fixed. Better Be Sawyer has been great since day one. Training down good, looks good, does her work well. Everybody likes Sawyer. I told you guys it wouldn't take long to sell her out, and she sold out. Blue Bayou Dio, I said to Amy today, I said, she makes the odd break in the middle of the straightaway. She doesn't pay attention. She kicks once in a while at people. I said, when I finally get around to going with her, that will be it. Ferris Bueller has her day off now. It will all end when I start going with her. I would say middle of February. She's not doing anything wrong. She's still doing stuff right. She can still trot fast, but the same things she was doing wrong, and this is no for me, the same things she was doing wrong in December, in November, she's doing wrong now still, and I think you'll see her continue to act up in the same ways. So we'll nip that in the bud. I'll be back and forth from the Meadows over the next week, 10 days. So I will be there on Wednesday. I will come home. I'm not going to be there Thursday and Friday. I may go back to drive Oso Pine and White Tiger. Second start, One My Heart Hanover the week after, if Amy lets me. And then that will be it. That will be it till the Hackett or whatnot, if I even go to Miami Valley later in the spring when those races race. I think once we have these horses set up in Ohio and in Pennsylvania right now, we're good. So I'll be back, and a Blue Bayou Dio is a horse that I just have her penciled into my list. Just in pencil right now, but I suspect it will turn into marker or pen when I get home. Great filly, really fast, lots and lots and lots of speed and lots to offer. Just need to nip those little shortcomings in the bud right now. Bomb Hugger, here's a filly that made a few breaks, but I think we got her on the right track now. She looked great again the other day, I'm told. Century Invictus. Now, I'm also going to tell you on this list, this is an important list today. On this list are horses that are being castrated this week. Century Invictus. I know he was a $60,000 or $70,000 Bettor's Delight, but I told you when they pin their ears to their neck, when you start asking them, that usually doesn't change. In fact, it sometimes compounds. It's a telltale sign of sometimes horses that may need to be castrated. We're not going to miss the boat on this guy. Century Invictus will be castrated on Tuesday morning of this week. So he won't train this week. He'll be castrated on Tuesday. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody else here. No. So we're fresh now. Giving you splints and castrations on this list. Confederate Cruiser, he's already been castrated, so we can't do that again. He's a nice little horse. He does his work well. His hobbles might be a little long still, but we're letting him grow into them. Just a tiny little fella, but does his work really well. Really happy with him so far. Duke Dio, he'll come up to the top barn at some point. We just haven't got around to it yet. I was happy with him, and I know Daryl Thiessen went with him on open house day, and he was happy with him also. So no complaints from Duke Dio. LSL, spoiler alert. I know he's first foal out of a Muscle Hill mare, but he's a small colt. We're going to castrate him simply because he continues to bite and strike at people in the barn. Actually a nice little horse on the track, and I know a lot of people say, well, just get a different groom. I'm not endangering our clients or our staff for a little Cantab Hall colt that wants to box. So LSL, I know I talked to Bob. He said, geez, he's well bred. We really shouldn't castrate this horse. I can't disagree with you, but in this case, the safety of our employees and our clients is paramount to anything else. So LSL, he's not dirty. Maybe he's playful, but playing's going to hurt somebody one day, and biting and striking at people, not something I want to see in the barn. So LSL will be castrated on, I don't think he'll be castrated Tuesday. So if you want to make any submissions and try and convince me otherwise, you have about a week. A week from Tuesday, LSL will be castrated. Isa 10 won't. She's a filly. She's a nice little filly. She does everything good. Really happy with her. Amy loves going with her. I haven't sat behind her much since we got her, but she does her work really well. I know on open house day she looked a little off, so to speak. Not sore, but just not herself from what I've been telling you. She's going to have her good days and her bad days. Everybody does. But man, oh man, she looked great. Garden State Dio's made some breaks. I'm not really in a rush to throw the hobbles on her just yet. This is a big, powerful filly. Spirit of Dio's full sister. She's going to take my time with this filly. We will have her ready to go in June, but I'm not going to rush into putting the hobbles on her and drilling her with corks on in the winter. No, we'll start pushing down on her a much harder later in March and April. But Garden State Dio, trust me when I tell you, this is beautiful, beautiful filly. Grace. I own Grace, so why don't you tell me about Grace, Anthony? Grace had OCDs removed from her hocks, so that cost you $3,000, Anthony. What else? She's a nice little filly. She's got a little pop to her. I had her full sister, Darling Please. This filly's put together similar but different, symmetrically better, I guess is the way to put it. Mechanically, trots better. Now that she doesn't have OCDs in her hocks, probably much better. So we'll see how Grace, this is a merchandiser filly, full sister to Darling Please. We'll see how she trains down this spring. Granite Hill, I went with him today. They said, maybe we should castrate him. He doesn't pay attention, doesn't do his work as well as he should, wanders all over the track. He wanders all over the track because he's a big puppy dog. He's a big dummy. That's what he is. But keep in mind, make no mistake, when I call horses stupid, that's not necessarily, it might be a mean thing to say, but I don't mean it in a mean way. Make no mistake, the first horse that comes to mind when you ask me my favorite horse of all time, from my time on Earth around horses, is the stupidest horse that was ever conceived on planet Earth. My father bred him. His name was the Big Fred, and I will never have a dumber horse in my life than him. But he was a good horse. A good horse. And meant a lot to me and will always mean a lot to me. So I don't mind that Granite Hill might be a little cement head. Doesn't matter to me at all. I trained him today in the snow. I thought he looked great. Might have been over on the left shaft a bit. Is he hitting himself? Maybe he needs to go to the vet. I don't know. But I was very happy with the way he trained today. Looked great on the track today. Where else are we? Harlan L. Old ham and egger. Old meat and potatoes. Harlan L. jogs good now. This is a horse that just laid his ears on his neck when we first got him. Just sour as sour can be. Nice in the barn, but on the track, just lay them on his neck. You'll catch him once in a while, tap the shaft or chirp to him. You see him pin his ears, but it's not that I'm going to pull up or I won't try. It's that I would kick you in the face if I could see you behind this bridle right now. He's just got that grit to him, that dirt to him. And yes, he's close to his knees. That will dissipate as his shoulders grow out and he puts weight on. Will he not hit his knees? That's unlikely. He'll probably hit his knees. But I like what I see from Harlan L. I know James is going to disagree and say, I don't like Harlan L. I do. I like Harlan L. And he's slowly becoming, not just I like him because he's an underdog, I like what he's doing and I like how he's doing it. I've trained him twice now, once on open house day and once the drone before, and I won both sets with him convincingly. He looked good. I'm happy with Harlan L, and I'm eager to see how he's going to continue to train down. I told Greg takes care of him. I said, well, first off, I'll be training him from now on. Secondly, I want you to feed him as much as he can eat. I want him to put lots of weight on. I want his shoulders to broaden out. If we get a stronger set of broader shoulders on him, he's less likely to strike his knees. He's narrow. He stands off a little bit. Lots of horses are, and lots of horses have been. But he does get into that inside knee especially. So if we can widen him out, put more muscle on him, it's less likely he's going to do some damage to his knees. We got him up over his knees also now, so when he trots fast, he clears his knees up over top, old school. And I think that will be a feather in his cap as he trains down. I like Harlan-Elle. Remember I said that. Harvard Yard, I haven't sat behind her. She's in Pennsylvania, but I saw her in the barn the other day. Just a beautiful filly, just like the day I saw her. I love everything about this filly, and I can't wait to see Harvard Yard race in 2021. Hill of Magic, I told everybody you underestimated this filly. I said she would sell out. One of our clients jumped in and bought all the shares of Hill of Magic. Johnny will not be upset. I don't think at the end of 2021. This filly looks strong as an ox. She had a curb. She was making breaks. We crowd her curb. It hasn't been a problem since. She looks great on the track. Very, very impressed with everything I see from Hill of Magic. Kathy with an I. I opened up with 6 minutes about Kathy with an I. I don't have to say much more about her. She looked great this week. I know Joel's waiting for an update. If you missed the start of the video, Joel, rewind the video to the start. You'll see what I think of Kathy with an I. I like everything I see, everything I've seen from Kathy with an I. Loving Beauty, this is a filly that looked good, but just made weird breaks sometimes. Four splints. 4 splints were crowd on this filly. You might say, Anthony, is that a conformational thing? Might be. But she had 4, and they were crowd, and they probably shouldn't bother. Again, her hind legs, you could see 2 big splints. She's tough, though. I love this filly. She's so funny. If you watch her on the track, her ears kind of flop over. I call her Thumper. They kind of flop over a little bit. They don't go up or go down. She's a beautiful filly, though. I like her attitude, and I can assure you, after crowing 4 splints, her attitude is going to get infinitely better in the near future. Luck of the Dragon is doing his work well. He's getting better and better and better. This is a horse when we first broke him. Like, geez, I don't know, but this guy's I like him. He's fast, but over on the right shaft a bit, hangs on the left line. We had him all fixed up, had him looked at by the vet. Nothing there. Blistered his stifle. She had a stifle. It was a little weaker on the left side. We've been blistering it, working on him. Not shockingly, the more work we got into him, the better he went. Luck of the Dragon looks great right now. Massive Profit, another horse that I worked hard on this back maybe 5 weeks ago. He's looked really, really good. I've been very impressed with this colt and have been for quite some time. Really, really like everything I see from Massive Profit. Matt's MVP. This guy made a couple of breaks. I went with him for a couple of days before I went to PA, and I asked him the other day, how was it? He said, he's better. I think he's just a big, growthy colt. Will he need the trot and hobbles? Maybe. We haven't put them on him yet, but when he's trotting, he's got a beautiful, slick gait. Really cheering for this guy because I like, not just because he's my MVP, and we have 2 yearlings ready to come in now this summer by my MVP, but because I like Matt's MVP. So we'll see how he makes out this summer. $1 Million Swan. This guy's going to take a lot of work. A lot of work. Stands off a little bit. Touches himself, gets out of gear. Is he going to be able to put muscle on and work through it? Yes, he can, and he likely will. How long will that take? I don't know. It'll take as long as it is. I know one thing. He is a yearling. Well, he's 2 now. He's a 2-year-old now. So we're going to give him. A wide berth. Give him lots of room. And at some point, if we decide, geez, I don't think he's going to race at 2, then we'll make a decision at that point. But from what I see from I like his attitude. We did castrate him. But I do like his attitude. He's a likable horse. So I want to see him come forward and do good over the next month or so. He's going to have to do a lot more to catch up to everybody, but just tons and tons of time. Miss Mildred has looked fantastic. Keep an eye out for Miss Mildred. This is one good-looking filly. She paces nice, got a great attitude and a great look to her. She's a little sick today. We just gave her the day off, I think, on Sunday too. But just a beautiful filly to watch on the track. Keep your eye on Miss Mildred. Mischievous Rose coming forward now, looks great. Johnny had come to me 6 weeks ago and said, filly just seems weak. She was always sick. We almost turned her out for 3 weeks, and she might be on a little bit of a soft list to go out. Potentially, we'll see how the other ones we turned out for that very reason come back here in another week or so. So I like everything I've seen from Mischievous Rose. She's healthier now, stronger now. Just a really, really likable filly with a big, big, strong, beautiful gait. Of Tom. I don't want to swan over Of Tom. I love this filly. I jogged her. She was a little ignorant getting on the track today, but I just had an open bridle on her. She was goofy getting on the track, but then so we've been walking her. She starts back jogging on Monday. So I know I have a lot of horsemen will email me because they hear us talking about OCDs. And I had a gentleman in BC message me, and he said, Anthony, I just got the veterinary clinic here just told me that when they take the OCDs out of my horse, they want me to give it a month in the stall, a month of hand walking. I said, listen, I'm not a vet, I'm not a surgeon, so please take this with a grain of salt. But if it's an average OCD just coming out of a main joint without any complications, 2 weeks in the stall, a week of walking, you can start jogging. That's what we've done. And that's, kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge what the surgeon and the vet has told us. Take a look at the horse. If the horse looks good, as soon as you get the sutures out, if the sutures heal well, and the horse's hock in this case, our case, looks comfortable, looks like it's quieted down and it's cleaning out, then you can do a little light work. Every horse is different. I mean, for any surgeon or any veterinarian to write out a report on a horse they've never seen or just seen x-rays on is a little unfair. Some horses heal up quicker than other ones. Some horses might need more time. In this case of Tom, 2 weeks in the stall, a week of walking in the jog cart because of this. It's not that easy to work in this. A week of walking in the snow, and then we'll start jogging here on Monday. And that's what we've done with horses over the past year that are typical OCD removals. 1, 2, skip a few, coming on great now. Amy went with the other day, said she was fantastic. I told everybody, we had a couple of clients that were a little concerned because she wasn't trotting. When we broke her, pace, run, trot a little bit, but not a whole lot. Then we put hobbles on her. Now we don't even have the hobbles on her. She trots like a dream. Just a beautiful filly. Really, really impressed with 1, 2, skip a few. Peanut butter and jelly continues to look good. That better's to like clappy gait to her. Just trying to keep her quiet, let her take her time. But she's got lots of speed and lots of talent. Very happy with peanut butter and jelly. Prairie Fire continues to look better. Every week he looks better and better and better. And as I said to you, I'm not lying to you when I tell you how much I like these long toms. I'm going to breed my mare to long tom, I believe. So it's not, that's generally how I feel, is that we have 3 long toms and I love all of them. So Prairie Fire is definitely one of them, looks great. Procrastinator still out in the farm. I told him just keep feeding him lots and tell me when his nose stops snotting and he stops coughing. This is a horse that had an issue with that sickliness. Leave him alone, get him over it, and that's where we're at right now with Procrastinator. Purple Aura, just about as push button as you could ever want a yearling, a 2-year-old at this time of year. Johnny said the other day, she's the best in the barn. And I love Of Tom, and there's a lot of horses I know are fast. I know Rosie's Masterpiece, a powerhouse, but pound for pound, as far as all you're asking them to do, all their disciplines right now, Purple Aura is 100% perfect right now. Renegade Gypsy, big, strong, powerful colt. This colt looks good on the track. Very interested. 2 or 3 horses that really catch my eye down at the ones that Mario are going with. I went with Rosie's Masterpiece on open house day. She was excellent. And I watched James go with Renegade Gypsy. He said this thing can fly for a big, big, strong colt. Can't ask for much more than that. So really impressed with what I've seen from Renegade Gypsy. Resolute Bay. Resolute Bay continues to look good. Actually, might put the hobbles on him. I don't know. When Danny was here, now a lot of people say, where's Danny at? Danny's an older gentleman. Broke his leg at the farm last year. Has 5 horses of his own. And I didn't know he'd 5 horses. This is the kind of guy Danny O'Brien is. I called him a month ago. I said, hey, you ready to come back? Why, you need me? I said, of course I need you. Danny's helped me out off and on for over a decade. I said, of course I need you. He comes back. We just get shooting the shit one day. I said, swore again. Sorry about that. I said, so how's things? Oh, good. Pretty busy. I got those 5 of my own. I said, you have 5 horses on your own? Yeah. I said, how are you coming and working at the barn every day? Well, I just do them after. I said, come on, man, you can't do that. So Danny literally, he thought that we needed him desperately and was working at the barn, doing his work. Never left till 12 or 1 every day, and then went and did 5 more of his own. So finally, just before Christmas, after the open house, I said, hey, if you want to take a break, if you want to focus on your 5. He says, oh, I don't want to leave you stuck. But that's the kind of guy Danny is. Would never leave you stuck. Always do whatever he can, bend over backwards. Come and work a full-time job, and then do his horses like he was 19 years old or something on the side. That's something I did when I was 20. So Danny's doing his horses right now. If he comes back and helps us out, great. But I didn't want to put any pressure on him. So Danny went with Resolute Bay on open house day, or the week before or after open house day, and said, might need the hobbles on this guy. He runs in a little bit, but man, when he's trotting, he's a beautiful, beautiful horse. Rose Above It, I can't say enough about this horse. You guys are missing the boat on this guy. We put him in the last group 20 shares from in the last group. There's like 30 shares left. They'll sell out soon. I think everybody's missed the boat on Rose Above It. This is a first foal out of a sister to Muscle Mass and Muscle Massive. It's just a gorgeous horse. And for the people out there that are paying attention, that have bought into him, you know what I'm talking about. Daryl Thiessen let him rock on open house day. He looked fantastic. And then the next week, I beat them all with him, and he looked really, really good. I'm very, very impressed with Rose Above It. Rosie's Masterpiece, the strongest horse we have right now, and fast. I'd say she's been the fastest and has been the strongest. Now, I know I just finished telling you that Purple Aura does everything right. We've never asked Purple Aura to go that strong. Rosie's Masterpiece looked incredible on open house day, and I'm very impressed with this filly. This is a filly, I keep telling you this, and from time to time I'll remind you, last year, not this Lexington, the Lexington before, I was the underbidder on her brother. Now, I've told you for 4 or 5 years, we've bid on a horse up to $100,000 or a little bit more, trying to get that something, right? And every year we get shut out. Never got one. This year we did, obviously with 3 Point Blue Chip. Last year, that horse was Rosie's War Bonds, who was a full brother to Rosie's Masterpiece. He went for $100,000, and my hand was up at $95,000. So we didn't get Rosie's War Bonds, but we did get his sister at a discounted price. As far as I'm concerned, we got her for $30 or $32 or something, like a third of what we would have paid for Rosie's War Bonds. So very impressed with her. I watched her train. She made a few breaks and stuff, and then I know Mario must have been watching the videos and heard me say that we switched them out if they weren't keeping up. And the next day he was on the track with the hobbles. And I know it probably runs against every fabric of his being to have the hobbles on them now, but that's just how we are. This is the stable. We built it. We have certain philosophies. They come from the way I wanted to train the horses down. I want the horses to do their work right. I think the smarter, you don't have to be the fastest horse, but you do have to be the smartest and most well-prepared horse, and that's what we're trying to do here. So Rosie's Masterpiece, that was like the second time she ever had the hobbles on open house day. First time I'd gone with her since day one, and she looked incredible. I was very happy with Rosie's War Bonds. Slim Jimmy continues to look good. Another meat and potatoes horse. Just does it right all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Never misses a beat, old Jimmy. Looked great on open house day and has looked great ever since. Spent. I went with him today. They said he made a break the other day. He's just chewing on himself a little bit. We're going to change his shoes behind. I hate putting aluminums on trotters, young trotters. It's different if you're in Florida. I don't know what you wear on your horse in Florida or the sand tracks. We're on the ice here. And we're on your harder, icier track. The horses will trot and pace a little bit different. This guy looked fantastic about 3 weeks ago. Again, 2 weeks ago. Looked okay on open house day. I think he might have made a break. He made one the other day on Brody. I went with him today. I could see where he could have made a mistake. So we're going to put aluminums on him behind just for a month. Put them on him for a month and then take them off. And I think they'll help him get a little more confidence in the turns. Very interested to see how he's going to look next week. Stonebridge Dolce continues to look so-so. I know Dr. Stellar and I own this horse. She was sent here privately, and I'm going to end up owning 3/4 of her. I haven't put any shares of her up for sale yet because I'm trying to get her right. I know she pulls up a little bit around horses, and I think that's just because she was a little pinchy in a number of places when she came here. Through her growing and working hard, I think she's going to work past this mental block. I'm not really concerned about it yet. If it becomes a habit, I will. I'm not really that worried about her. When she really puts her mind to it, she can dance. So I'm interested to see how Stonebridge Dolce, how her training is going to progress over the next few months. Stonebridge Acadi looks good. Very happy with him. I saw him make a couple of breaks before. Mario says he's trotting better now. This is a horse, too, that may end up in the top barn just for a month or so. As I said to Mario, if I do take a couple of horses up top, between Harry, Mario, and Kevin, they'll get the Ontario breds. I'm certainly not going to take a horse away from Mario, take it up top, and then give it to somebody else. That would be a little rude. So we just want to get a good look at them, right? Make sure that everybody's keeping up. Stonebridge Acadi looked fine to me. Danny said he just rolled off when he was training on open house day, but he was happy with him. I think the horse looks great. I hate to compare horses, but Simba had a little bit of more of a Yankee glide gait to him, where it looked like he was struggling a little bit, but he was strong. This guy's got more of a slick, fluid gait to him, and not even the usual Cadabra gait. He's a smaller horse. He's not as small as Simba was, but he's a smaller horse, but he's got a slicker gait to him. I've been very impressed with what I've seen from Stonebridge Acadi. Sweet on Pete is one of the horses we turned out. She was always getting a little coughing, a little bit mucus. Beautiful gait to the filly. Just wanted to get her spirits up and get her healthy. Turned her out in the field for a couple of weeks. 3 Point Blue Chip has looked great since day one. I've been very, very impressed with him. really happy with what I've seen from 3 Point Blue Chip, and really eager to see how he's going to train down the rest of the time. Taiwan On is the other one that went out. She's coughing a little bit sick. We got her squared away now. Just want to put some weight on them, let them grow up, let them fill out a little bit. She'll come back in with Sweet on Pete next week. Tioga Sunshine looked great. Made a little break at the open house. Was great last week. Was great again this week. I went with her in between, and I trained her pretty hard, so she straightened up pretty quick. But I think sometimes they have to get over the hurdles where they look around. They have to understand that it takes focus to do well at your job sometimes, and I think Tioga Sunshine got that quick. Twin B Habanero. There's another horse that we are castrating this week, and we did cryo a splint on him. He had a splint right front that was cryoed. This guy's just big, and I just didn't want him to start acting up in the barn. He did a little bit sometimes, so we are going to castrate Twin B Habanero on Tuesday morning. Not because he's ignorant, because we don't want to give him an opportunity to form any bad attitudes or bad habits that we may have trouble breaking down the road. So Twin B Habanero, big strong colt, not fooling around. We're going to castrate him on Tuesday. Twinkle in her eyes look good from day one. I know when you see her and she's clapping around a little bit, like the Better Delights, they don't break cleanly all the time. They don't look fantastic training down, but as you start to feed them speed into May and into June, that's when they start to really come forward. So Twinkle in her eye, this is a filly with a full sister that made 300,000, a mark of 50 or 51, and out of a sister to Better Than Cheddar and Courtly Choice, I don't have to say much more. She's going to come forward. Unbeatable Kemp looks great on the track. Both these Walners, I'm very impressed with the two Walners we have. Unbeatable Kemp looks great on the track. Yes, he's made the odd break. I know exactly why. Just touches down low on that left hind. A little bit of shoeing change. We'll get him out of that. It won't be a problem. You Gotta Believe made a break the other day. We still got to work with this little Uncle Peter fella, but we'll get him squared away, and we will get him on track. He looked decent on the set the week before and after open house day, of course, but I was happy with Sweet on Pete when I went with him, or You Gotta Believe when I went with him. Voyage of Ice and Fire, can't really say much more about this guy. You guys know how he's still a stud, and they said, he's getting a little hot in the burn. I said, okay, he'll be the last one we geld, though. Okay, that's the last one. I really like this horse, and it's not that I like the spunk. I just don't want it to turn into ignorance or danger, and it hasn't just yet. They said he's just playful in the stall, and he's respectful on the cross ties, and on the track he looks like $1 million. So we'll see if we can work around it. If we can't, we can't. But Voyage of Ice and Fire, man, oh man, I really, really like this colt. Will to Win Hanover, giant splints crowd on her, one on each front leg. You saw how much she wandered on open house day, and we thought that was just her not paying attention, her vision, just her not focused on her work. And I don't think it was. We changed her bridle around, actually put a peekaboo bridle on her, which is rare. We had to look for one, let me tell you that. And I put it on her, she was no better. Still wander. I think it was just her splints really killing her. The vet said they were quite sore. She's all crowd up front now. No problems moving forward. I would be shocked if we have any issues with Will to Win Hanover moving forward. And World for Two, this is a horse, a big boy. I want to make sure we take our time with him. I don't want to start pushing him real hard. Him and Almost There Boss. I don't want to push them hard until the corks come off. We'll train them down. Those miles from 35 to 50 are perfectly fine. I don't want to see them go any faster than that. Those horses, big heavy frames on them. I don't want to put their knees in jeopardy or anything like that. So I want to make sure we go easy right until the corks come off around March time. That's when we'll start pushing World for Two. There's lots and lots of time for both these colts. And, when we talk about the stable, yeah, we have the biggest stable in Canada. But that doesn't mean that we have to run it as a cookie-cutter stable. We are going to tailor-make, we are going to make specific training regimens for every horse. Horse like World for Two is not going to train down like Confederate Cruiser, right? Not going to train down like Twinkle in Her Eye. It's going to train down in a different way. And if any other horses need that extra time or that extra work or less work or more work, then we're going to do that. We need to be able to have the flexibility to do that. We have the people smart enough to understand it needs to be done and to implement that. So that is important. When we look at a horse like World for Two, we're not going to push, and, oh, geez, we got to stop with him. He's got a line in his knee. We're going to push lightly with him. Right, he's still going to train on Wednesdays and Saturdays, but in a smaller, slower amount. And then we get the corks off in March, April. Now when we start to get into May, then we're really going to start to button down on him if he's able to do it, which I suspect he will be able to. So that is all the new 2-year-olds of 2021. This is our class of 2021, 49 babies, and I am super excited about all of them. So I will talk to all you guys soon. You have a lot of videos to look at. There's a ton of stuff and content to look at this week. Feels like I've been in my car for 3 days. So, all the videos are done now. All the burns, talked about the brood mares, talked about a number of things. It's all there out in the open for you now. You're welcome. Hope you guys had a fantastic Christmas. I did. Looks like a great new year. We will push through this lockdown, push through the pandemic, push through the virus, and hopefully have a wonderful racing season coming up. Take care.